not a lot changed in terms of my leadership. Look, I guess we came to North Carolina 9 years ago in January this year, and so it kind of feels a little bit like ancient history. But when you're dealing with cultural changes, when you're dealing with just changes of lifestyle, I have a family involved in that picture as well. Plus, I'm changing clients. I was fortunate to come to America with an existing client, a very large staffing firm, and so that kind of meant that I had some consistency there already. But the process of then building a client base, talking to clients here, just the language was different, the culture was different, some of the wording we used was different, just the pace of life in America versus the pace of life in Australia was completely different. So when you start to think about this journey of changing cultures and how it impacts A, me as a leader, but B, the way I would then coach others to lead, it was cool to be able to bring some unique experiences, some unique stories. Americans love Australians, they love Australian stories, they love the Australian accent, which, I'm not going to lie, it helps. and so that helped a lot in terms of the introductory phase. It didn't cement the results, but it certainly helped in terms of softening the approach, and of course you have no strategic advantage having an Australian accent in Australia. And so there was that piece of it. But look, just the two, I think it was Winston Churchill who said, Australia and the US are two countries separated by a common language. And so the way we talk, the nuances, the isms, let alone just the cultural things like having to set up a life in a foreign country that, you think we speak English and all that sort of thing, but a lot of miscommunication in the early days. And so really thinking about how we communicate. Another one was just having to slow down. I always thought that Aussies actually spoke pretty slowly, and turns out we don't. And so I had to slow down. I had to articulate myself a lot more. I had to be careful about certain words that I used. So there was a lot in there. So that was just that bit in terms of the clients. But then there's also managing my family through that journey as well. How did I lead my wife? How did I lead my kids, who were very young at the time? Our eldest was just entering her teen years. And so just being able to keep them on a level so we could all stay a little bit sane in that process. I mean, it was a big deal. There was just a lot of stuff to manage and organize in that process. I think part of it too was we didn't do a whole bunch of second guessing. I think one of the things that people can do, and particularly leaders, they can start to trip themselves up because they start to second guess everything. And so once we made a decision, this is what we're going to do, we kind of adopted a little bit of a burn the boats analogy, and sold our house, sold a lot of our possessions, packed into a 20-foot shipping container, and off we went. And then as soon as we got to America, we started hunting for a house. We decided we wanted to settle down in Western North Carolina, which is where we had all our connections and contacts. Today, 9 years later, we still think it's the most beautiful part of America and one of the friendliest, one of the nicest.